Welcome to episode 93 of Cutscene Convos. Woohoo! We've got an absolutely stacked episode. Our character profile is on Blade. We will be discussing the controversy around the game of the year and the award show in general.
Sore losers.
We'll also be talking about the Blade game that was teased at the Game of the Year Awards. We're going to be talking a little bit about scooping culture and Twitter fandoms, and maybe they're a big part of the reason comic book movies are struggling. We've also got a very large Nerd News network, and we've got a Christmas content championship, which is Home Alone 3 versus Die Hard. But for all that good stuff, Horizontal, how have you been?
I've been good. I'm trying to remember. It's been a couple of weeks again. Obviously, the last episode I mentioned about my grandma passing, and we had a lovely send off for her. So plenty of time spent with the family. And then other than that, doing bits of work, recovering with my arm because I went and absolutely destroyed my bicep. Turns out.
Is it still giving you grief?
So I ended up going to physio.
Oh,
to see a physio
Jesus.
because it was like a week on and it was just still
Not getting better.
pretty much as painful. So I went to physio and basically found out I hadn't like severely torn my bicep, but essentially pretty much had like severely pulled it, and like all the tendon and stuff was like
It was like a grade 1 tear instead of a grade 2 tear.
Yeah, basically like all my bicep muscles. Then it's like she was looking at obviously, and then she was like,
Getting old.
And your scapula's flared, so like shoulder blades, and she's like, and your right pec is short because it's all tight. So she's like, it's an injury waiting to happen. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm just broken. just laid it on like how out of shape and broken I am. And she's like, oh, and I could tell there's past injuries here, like obviously from like working out over the years, never like you get a twinge at the gym, you're like, oh, I'll just work on other things for a week, and then so yeah. Went again today for a follow-up, and God, getting deep. I have to say, deep muscle like massages and like sport, like that deep tissue massage, the most painful thing, but also the relief afterwards is so good.
So Jenna's had some problems with her back over the years. Touch wood, at the minute, she's actually been good for a while. But when it was really bad, she was going to get deep tissue sports massages like once a month. And she'd always come back and go, that was horrible. And then the next day she'd feel so much better. And I know I'm terrible for stuff like this. But I'm like the kind of person who I love medicine. I think it's great. I think therapy is great. I think all this stuff's great. But I'm always like, but not for me. I think I'm the exception to the rule.
Well, it wasn't. It was so like my mum was like, right, we're going to book you a physio because it's not getting better. I was like, oh, it'll be fine. Like, I'll just put up with it. It's fine. It's going to get better eventually. But I'm actually very
bad forever.
Yeah, I'm glad I went, and it is improving a lot since I've been. So, but yeah, just broken, playing video games, being old, ready for Christmas to be here and just to start a new year. Honestly, just ready for a fresh year. How's your 100%. Couple of weeks been?
Not too bad. I've been playing a lot of the new COD. So I've been grinding mainly zombies on that because the zombie camos this year are just. So I'm just grinding out the zombies camos. And then we got to play some of the finals this week. The boys finally came back, and I wasn't a solo gamer anymore. And that was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to playing some more of that over the coming weeks, months, whatever. But other than that, it's not too much. Just it's like work is like churning down for the year, so it's just like working out right what is actually the priority that needs to be done before like everyone in the country stops working properly for 10 days. Because like there's that period over Christmas where nothing can get done quickly. So you're like, right, what do I need to make sure is done before that happens, and what can wait until afterwards?
I've been feeling that.
Yeah. But other than that, it's not been too bad. Just getting ready for Christmas. We actually, it's funny, every year we get so stressed out about Christmas presents and like, oh, what are we gonna get for everyone? Then we like put together our budget and our list of ideas and stuff, and then we're like crazy anxious for like the last week of November and the first week of December, and we get basically all the presents done in that time, and then we're like, oh, why were we stressed for? And then the next year we do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I'm definitely organized. Definitely haven't only just made my list.
Oh, Hori, no.
Well, we to be fair, the family's had a lot going on, so like Christmas has been last minute. But yeah, my sister was like, "Have you got a list?" I was like, "I haven't thought about that yet."
I've not even considered it. Yeah.
Spent yesterday just racking my brain on what do I actually want for Christmas.
But I'm pretty sure, other than just like getting like packs of sweets as like stocking fillers, we are 100% done and ready for Christmas, which is an
Fair.
absolute dub. I think this might be the earliest we've been done.
I think this might be the latest I'm going to be ready.
Do you want to trade a couple of days? I'll give you a couple of. We'll pretend
please,
we're not
can we
done
just
for a
move
few
like
days.
Christmas back a week or something?
Make it December 31st this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I've been pretty good. And then I got the gift wrapped idea for our character profile this week.
Yeah, they just laid it on a plate.
I was adamant that I must have already covered Blade. I spent so long going back through our YouTube channel, like I must have done a Blade character profile at some point. Turns out I hadn't. So here we are.
Yeah, I feel like the only time
we have discussed Blade a lot of times.
Well, when we talked about like Black Knight and stuff in the past.
Yeah. I think. But yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Blade, aka Eric Brooks, first appeared in Tomb of Dracula number 10 in April 1973.
Oh, damn.
Mm-hmm. Eric Brooks is a Daffir, or half vampire, born in London 1929 to Vanessa Brooks. Vanessa was taken in and cared for at a brothel run by Madame Vanity. However, during her labour, there were complications, so Vanessa was rushed to a doctor. However, this doctor was in fact a vampire who feasted on her as she gave birth. This caused the baby to be altered but not turned. This would give him all of the enhanced lifespan, strength, and other associated powers and abilities of a vampire without the drawbacks. However, this came at the cost of his mother's life, leaving him to be raised and cared for at the brothel by Madame Vanity. As a teenager, Eric would save Jamal Afari from vampires in London. After this, Jamal explained to Eric that he was a vampire hunter from America. And after learning of Eric's life and disdain for vampires, as well as his eagerness to stop them, Jamal agreed to train Eric as a vampire hunter and teach him everything he knows, as well as also helping him to learn to control his budding abilities. It was while under Jamal's tutelage he would adopt the name Blade. He chose this name because he liked using sharp things to stab vampires.
Simple.
Yeah. Jamal and Blade would work together, honing Blade's skills until Blade accidentally killed a man who was suffering from a mental break, believing him to be a vampire. And Jamal willingly took the fall to protect Blade from the authorities.
Oh.
For a very long time after this, Blade operated strictly solo, until over time he came across a few other vampire hunters that he was convinced to collaborate with in order to try and kill Dracula and stop his plan to take over the world. Blade infiltrated Dracula's operation by convincing him that he believed vampires would soon take over the world and he wanted to help speed that process up. And he would be able to help being able to be a day walker and walk during the sun. Interested in the plan, Dracula invited him and his team into his lair, where they attacked and killed him. However, they didn't dispose of the body correctly and securely, which allowed his minions to resurrect him and enact revenge on the vampire hunters who'd killed him, leaving Blade as one of very few fortunate survivors. Blade's core motivation for stopping vampires is to protect the Earth from a vampire uprising, but more importantly to him initially was finding the vampire that killed his mother all them years ago. He's worked with various superheroes when it's benefiting to him, but rarely works with anyone for extended periods as he can find it distracting or infuriating even. Recently, he's worked with Miles in a comic. I actually have the comic. That was a very cool comic. So yeah, Warblade is basically all of the benefits and none of the drawbacks kind of vampire. There are two major considerations. He does still need blood to stay alive. He does have a serum that he uses instead, but he has to take this extremely regularly to stay at full strength. And if for whatever reason he was to go without a week from it, he may become like blood crazed and be liable to attack and drain an innocent person. Which means he has to, while he does have a good stash of it, if he was to be kidnapped and locked up for an extended period of time, there could be some problems. He's also in danger of death if exposed to red sunlight for an extended period. So in the short term, it will be quite uncomfortable for him and will burn his skin slightly. But if he was like exposed to red sunlight for an extended period, it's gonna have the same effect on him as a traditional yellow sun would have on a vampire. So that is Blade.
It's very interesting.
Blade's a really cool character. I think he's like kind of universally known as one of like the badass comic book characters. And I think that idea of him was definitely helped by Wesley Snipes' Blade films, which did like save Marvel. Marvel were on the verge of bankruptcy. They managed to sell Spider-Man, Fox, and Hulk because they were like, sorry, not Fox, X-Men and Hulk.
Too far.
And that really wasn't doing enough, but everyone was like, these are the only characters worth a damn. And then they did these Blade films and they were a success. They made enough money for them to kind of go, maybe there's something in this film business. And then a million films later or multiple $1 billion later, here we are.
They're struggling to do another one.
Yeah. Now, onto the Game of the Year awards.
Yes.
I have never been quite so infuriated by Twitter, which is saying something.
Yeah, that is saying something for you.
You make it sound like I just sit here in like a little troll cave.
We have 93 episodes of evidence.
Like, I have the ability to see really bad tweets and like not let it bother me, but sometimes I just see the most brain dead takes, and I'm like, who gave you access to the internet? Who thought that was a good idea? So essentially, Baldur's Gate 3 won Game of the Year.
Deserved.
Which I think anyone who's played most of the games on the nominated list kind of agrees with pretty unsurprisingly. They're like, yeah, no, that makes complete sense. It was a really, really good game. I liked it.
Yeah.
But then you've got a bunch of Sony, Spider-Man, PlayStation fanboys who were like, they were like taking clips of Baldur's Gate gameplay and comparing it to Spider-Man cutscenes. And we're like, how did this win over this? I'm like, if you cannot understand conceptually that games that look different can also be very good, you're not a gamer. I really hate the idea of gatekeeping games. But if you are the kind of person who just plays Spider-Man, God of War, COD, and then FIFA, NBA, and Madden, and then you sit here and see that Baldur's Gate 3 is won, and you go, "What? That's stupid." They need to understand real quick. Spider-Man wasn't even coming second there. Based on what I've seen, Alan Wake was the winner if Baldur's Gate 3 didn't exist.
Yeah, see, I think Spider-Man might have come second.
But we need to just understand that games that look different equally as good.
The biggest proof that Baldur's Gate is fully deserving of that is like, let's be simple here. without any predetermined knowledge, you would have heard Spider-Man 2, you're like, well, I'm playing that. Baldur's Gate 3, you weren't initially like, oh,
I
I'm going
didn't
to
know it
play that.
existed until it came out.
And then it's like, many people like you who had never played a turn-based game like that, had never played like a Dungeons and Dragons themed game, had never played anything or heard of Larian Studios, picked it up because you saw how well it was being received and then fell in love with it. And it's like, the fact that that game could bring in new people who had never tried those games before and they all love it shows that it was Game of the Year. Spider-Man 2 ain't doing that.
And also, Spider-Man was like 30 hours.
Yep.
It didn't have New Game Plus at launch.
Yep.
And I played over 100 hours of Starfield. At no point in Starfield did I encounter a game-breaking bug. I encountered bugs, but none that were game-breaking.
Mm.
I had to quit, relaunch, reload Spider-Man semi-regularly. Not enough for it to ruin the game for me, but I had to do it. There were times where an objective would be bugged the fuck out, and I had to reload my checkpoint so that I could actually progress.
Mm. I mean, I'd also be willing to say, and I don't even think this is that hot of a take, but I feel like Baldur's Gate 3 might have been the only fully complete game that released this year.
Yeah.
It didn't release and need like a series of patches to fix it or make
There was
it playable.
very, very early on, there was some problems in Act 3, but before 95% of people could even make it to Act 3 because of how much game there is,
Yeah.
they were all fixed. Put it this way, I've played 30 hours of Spider-Man, and while I do need to go back and do some things, and I will play New Game Plus because I fucking love that game,
Mhm.
I'm at 75, nearly 80 hours in Baldur's Gate 3. I'm only about 75% of the way through, and I'm desperately trying to find time to get back to it, but brain go brr, and there's new games.
I can sprint around and grab cash now.
Put it this way, Spider-Man 2's big thing, even if we like get away from raw gameplay and talk about the technologies behind it, their big thing was look at our super cool SSD. That is all marketing bullshit. The SSD that they have isn't magic.
No.
It's don't get me wrong, it's some very good technology they're using, and they're using it very well, and they're making the most of it, but it's nothing world changing. Larian had to build this entire dice system, and
Yep.
for those who don't know, building evenly weighted dice in computers is fucking rough.
Yep.
So difficult. A computer creating true randomness is actually impossible.
Yep.
So to get them to build dice that genuinely feel balanced, crazy.
Mm.
Like,
Well, it's like,
I don't like turn-based combat, which is absolutely fine. If you're like, I don't like turn-based combat, I'm not going to play BG3. I'm not saying you have to, but you have to respect that other people do like that. That game made me like turn-based combat, because when you get to sit there, and I've watched the same fight that everyone has to do eventually in the game, and I see 100 different people do it 100 different ways, that is fucking gaming. Spider-Man, you've got to do the same thing everyone else does.
Yeah.
In Spider-Man, you don't get, other than like just actual fight bits, you don't get to like do crazy different things there. It's just about like what gadgets you might use. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna set up grease all over this, and then when I start the fighting, I'm just gonna light it all on fire and burn everyone to death.
Well, yeah,
Or
and it's like,
set up a bunch of boxes and turn into an owlbear and jump down on everyone.
the other like way to look at it is like Spider-Man 2. Essentially, what you see is what you get. There is not much below the surface of what you would expect from a Spider-Man 2
100%.
game. Baldur's Gate has so much depth to that game. Like, I've not played it yet, but like I've seen things where you can be a paladin oathbreaker, I think it is.
Yeah.
Which is like, you're meant to be evil now. And there is a ending for if someone was to actually purposely pick every single good decision, like good morality decision. They do that, and they have a special ending for if an oathbreaker does that, because they knew someone would do that. Someone would see what would happen.
Because it's cool, but they're still going to do the right thing.
Yeah, and it's like there's so much depth there, and then it's like things like people have started making mods for it now. There is, although that game is top down, and it's like turn based. Someone's made a first person camera view. That game is more beautiful in first person than some RPGs, and you can't even play it in first person without a mod. And it's like the fact that the game can look that great in a camera angle it's not meant to be in is wild.
Wait, I spent no more, 6, maybe even 7 hours losing a big battle because I'd accidentally not realizing made all of the bad decisions and put myself in a shit spot, which meant instead of just little battles occasionally, I had to do essentially a war battle.
Nice.
When I'm like not even level 4 yet, I've never played turn-based combat. I'm still learning.
Hmm.
Um, and I spent 7 hours because like each attempt was taking like 40 minutes because I was getting so close to finishing it and then dying right near the end. You play Spider-Man for 7 hours, you're a quarter of the way done. In fact, I'm sure you can speed run it and be done in less than that time
Probably.
now. Well, I could probably speed run Spider-Man and be done in about 7 hours now.
It's yeah. It's just wild that people think Spider-Man was anywhere near close to beating Baldur's Gate.
I think Sony's marketing team will need a huge raise, because they have done a phenomenal job at convincing Sony fanboys that they make
I
the best
don't
games
even
ever and
think
no
they
one
had
else
to
can
do much
compete.
convincing though, because the Sony fanboys will just lap up anything.
It's so crazy. It feels like we've moved away from the Game Awards, apart from, and it's not all Sony fans. I'm not saying it is, but there is still a large portion that from the PlayStation side who are still so invested in this console war bullshit, and I'm just over it. I'm
Hmm.
so over it. Just accept that the game wasn't the best game this year. That's fine. But
Yeah,
let's
it's
be
like
honest, all of Sony's first party titles are the same game reskinned. And I say that as someone who is desperate to go back through now that I've got a PlayStation and play some of them games. So like I'm not sitting here going, oh, I'm too good for these games. I'm gonna fucking play them games.
yeah, that I think that's also the other thing. Like people need to realize just because it didn't win Game of the Year doesn't make it a bad game.
100%.
Like it's still a great game. It's just not as great as Baldur's Gate 3. Like there can only be one
100%.
winner.
And I said that Baldur's Gate 3 is the best game. It's not the game I've had the most fun with this year. I had more fun with Starfield for my sins. That game, it nestled its way into my brain, and I'm scared to actually open it again in case I lose another 3 weeks of my life. Um, but even as I was doing that and saying I'm having much more fun with Starfield and I love Starfield and this,
Yeah.
that, and the other, I also sat there. I was like, but Baldur's Gate 3 is the best game this year. It's art. It is video games at their absolute highest art form.
There's a reason devs were tweeting being like, "Oh, this shouldn't be the expectation of gamers. Like this is an unrealistic expectation for a studio to make." It's like, no, no, it's not.
And I now expect it.
Yeah,
This is now my expectation.
do better. I will say, while we're on the Game Awards, I didn't watch it because I'll be honest, I forgot it was on until the next morning. The clip of the God of War voice actor saying my speech last year was longer than the Modern Warfare 3 campaign. Hilarious. And the fact that the devs got salty about
Very
it,
salty devs, yeah.
also very hilarious.
Very salty devs, but also very salty like people who haven't worked on COD in like 10 years. They're like, I used to work at COD like a decade ago, and that is so uncalled for. It's like, my brother in Christ. There's been like 4
Yeah,
Activision
my,
lawsuits since you last worked there.
bro, the COD you worked on doesn't exist anymore. Like
Doesn't exist.
that studio is completely different. Yeah, I just thought it was so funny that he was made that comment.
But, and you're not even
Hmm.
going to remember this Horizontal for this next bit.
Oh.
I found this out while I was double checking to make sure I hadn't done a Blade character profile before.
Oh.
About a year ago, there was a rumor on Twitter that a Blade game was in the works at Ubisoft.
Did we discuss it?
We did.
Oh wow.
And we sat here and we went, I want a Blade game. That sounds awesome. But Ubisoft have a really bad habit of making these big, massive open worlds that are just empty. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't want that for a Blade game.
Mm.
And then we never really discussed it again because it went
No,
quiet. Turns out there was a Blade game being discussed. And maybe Ubisoft were in discussion to make it.
possibly.
But it's fallen to Bethesda and Arcane.
Arcane is the like main studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who I forget what they've done before.
They did Dishonored and stuff, didn't they?
Yes.
And if they're gonna use a bit of their
Oh, they did.
know-how,
Yeah, they did Dishonored, Prey. Um,
Deathloop,
yeah, but I feel like Dishonored is their main
yeah, that's what they're
staple
known
that
for.
everyone fell in love
When
with.
everyone saw that one of the heads of Arcane was at the Game Awards, they were like, Dishonored.
Mm. Little did we know.
So what we know is they can handle doing stories with close
Yes.
quarters combat that are a bit creepy.
Yep.
I am so ready for this game.
Oh, so am I. And I love the teaser that we got gave us so much in like how it's going to be set up, like what like the world's going to be like. We're in a modern day. There is
We know we're in
lockdowns.
France.
Yeah, there's lockdowns regularly because vampires are just like running wild. Um,
I cannot wait to behead some vampires as Blade.
oh, it's gonna be so good. Like that's gonna be a fun game. That's
Oh
gonna be a
yeah,
fun game to play. Um,
and I'm kind of excited to see because while and I don't want to keep on harping on about Spider-Man, but the Spider-Man Insomniac games are like the gold standard of superhero
mm,
video games at the minute.
yeah.
Um, I'm curious to see what Arcane's take on a superhero video game is like. Because while I love Spider-Man, it is a twist, but very similar on what Rocksteady did with Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to
Yeah.
see a slightly different style. I'd like to see a different take on how a superhero game can work. Don't get me wrong, if it ends up being like the exact same formula with their art style, I can live with that. But I would like to see them try their own take on it if
Yeah.
they've got a good idea.
I I think they could. I feel like Dishonored was a very unique game. So we could get something very cool from them.
100%. And depending on the timing of it, I don't think we got an expected release date for it, did we?
Not that I'm aware of. I think it just
Ba, ba, ba,
was a
ba, ba, ba.
teaser. Yeah, I don't think there's any date at the moment.
In honor of Blade's 50th anniversary, we found the perfect match for for the Daywalker.
Yeah, it just
Um,
the trailer ended just with
yeah.
Blade.
So I expect it won't be till like 2025, probably at the earliest.
Probably.
Um, so I mean, it might end up lining up quite nicely with the Blade film.
That would be smart from Marvel.
Mm, probably luck more than anything else.
Well, yeah, but
Um,
we can hope.
Now onto one of the biggest topics of today. I'm not sure how much attention you've been paying to the internet in your absence, but
Not much to this.
so Deadpool 3 started filming again,
Yeah,
and instantly we were getting more leaks.
yep,
To which Ryan Reynolds took to Twitter to basically go, I know you guys are excited. We're excited too. Please stop ruining it.
yeah.
Please stop leaking pictures. Just, we know you're excited. We know this all comes from a place of, oh my God, I can't wait. But please don't ruin it for other people. Please be patient, blah, 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 blah. And then he tweeted out his own very good photoshopped fakes the day after
I
with the Terminator and shit there. It was very, very funny.
love it.
Um, but it started an interesting discussion. And it was a case of essentially, is the part of the reason that the quality of superhero films has gone down is because to stop it all getting spoiled, they can't film on location because what's happening with Deadpool 3 happens. And because they can't do that, they have to rely even more on CGI, which means the quality of the CGI isn't as good, which means the film doesn't look as good, which makes fans moan about it. And
Mm,
then what you get is you get this perpetual cycle of the less they film outside, the more people take pictures of everything that does happen outside, which
yeah,
means they film less outside and makes that problem worse. And then
yeah,
on the other end, the more they film inside, the more CGI they have to use, the harder work
mm,
they have to put the VFX artists under. And I mean, if you're doing 100 shots of VFX and they're
yeah.
all really good, one, you might not even notice. But if 1 in every 100 is a bit squiffy, and you go from doing maybe 1,000 shots in a film to 100,000 shots in a film, you're going to notice them bad shots a bit more often.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
it's
so
wild how it's gone.
is this part of the problem?
It's wild how it's gone from like back with that, say like the peak of the MCU, so like Endgame period. You get like the odd little leak of a set or like someone in costume, and it's like, oh shit. But it'd be never anything that would kind of reveal characters we hadn't met or anything.
You say that, you say that, but when they were shooting Endgame, we got a leaked picture of the Battle of New York and Captain America in his Captain America suit filming that. And then that led to, I don't know how big the speculation got, so I'm only in my little echo chamber of
Mm,
the internet. But there was big discussions about, oh my god, are they gonna like go back in time? And this was before like a lot more of the time high stuff got leaked, but in the early days, a lot of people were like, I wonder if they're gonna go like back to like the Battle of New York to try and like
reset.
recruit someone or something.
Yeah, well, that was the thing, but like there was things like that, but the leaks were pretty minimal. So then it was just all speculation, and there was never, or it'd be like, oh, there's one leaked image of like the next Iron Man suit, but like it'd never be,
Yeah.
oh, here's this new person that's joined like the film in their outfit for the first time, like things that we haven't experienced before are now getting leaked. And it's not even just in comic book films. Like a recent thing of it is like the GTA 6 trailer got leaked. So then Rockstar was like, well, we're going to have to release it. And it's
Yeah.
like, I get that the internet is always, we always want to like, we want, whether we want to admit or not, we enjoy the leaks because we're like, oh shit, we're getting something early. Like we're finding out information, like we want to know. But it's like in everything like that with any films, entertainment, the build up, there's so many people put time and effort into the marketing and the build up for then that to just be robbed by a random Twitter account that tweets a bunch of pictures or a clip. It
Yeah.
takes away from that like moment.
100%.
And yeah, now I do think that's causing an issue as to why, like you say, more is done on blue screens and green screens, more is lent on VFX, but then Disney don't want to pay their VFX workers. So it's like the VFX work is subpar
Yeah.
and this constant cycle. Like when I think about it, look at the blade stuff, right? That's been going on. We've been getting all this information about the script. Once it actually gets going, people are gonna be like, okay, so how's it doing? We want to know.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, it needs to go quiet now. I mean, I feel like we've said this on different some things, that we just want nothing. Like I'd rather have radio silence and then
I think
suddenly,
I think there is a sweet spot where, back in the day where you'd get them leaked set photos, but they were just so high quality you could tell that someone in marketing had leaked them.
well, like, I mean, prime example, right? Deadpool 3, that picture from set came out,
That very, very high quality one of them two in the suits. Yeah.
and then Ryan Reynolds was like, here's the actual like real high quality one. That should have been the only leak. They should
Yeah.
have just that it should have been like that's where it leaves. Like that's all we've got.
Let them be like hidden as leaks, but
Mhm.
let them be the ones that actually want to get leaked. Because let's not pretend that isn't a thing. That's always been a thing. They leak what they want to leak.
Deadpool 1
Like
previs.
the original Deadpool film, part of that was leaked to put
The
pressure on the
yeah.
studio. Do it that way. But I'd rather them kind of go the approach James Gunn's having with DC of I will keep you updated.
Mm.
Don't believe anything unless it comes from me.
Yeah. And they are I imagine they're gonna be very on top of keeping pictures. Like if he wants to put out a picture. And that's the thing. I think all that's gonna come from this, if it keeps going this way, is these studio sets are going to be like it's going to make the workplace unpleasant for the people that work on them.
Yeah.
because the studios are gonna be so on like worried about it. It's gonna be like, okay, they'll start bringing in dumb stuff like you've got to put your phone in a lock. Like they're gonna be like making people lock their phones away, and like it's gonna make a very tense, unpleasant workplace because these studios are gonna be on edge. They don't want leaks because it's ruining our films, sort of thing.
That being said, they're expanding Warner Bros. Studio nearby me in the next couple of years, and that's when most of the DCU is going to be filmed. So if you guys get us to 10,000 subscribers, I will buy a camera and hide in the trees. Only 5 minutes away. I will go and do it. I will be the guy.
Just send Jenna in with a cat. Oh, she's gonna be around the corner.
Yeah. I'll get Harry to Horry. Fucking Harry. I'll get Horry to teach me how to take good pictures. I'll just hide in a tree taking pictures of the new Batman and Superman and whatever else they film around there. It's gonna be class. Yeah, no. It's just something I hadn't considered because, like you say, it's completely natural for people who like care about these franchises to want all the leaks, and that's part of the problem because we're all fucking just so obsessed with it and we like it. So we're not going to be able to just look away and go, "No, I won't look." We're just like, "Yeah, give me more." Um, which means that the cycle just gets worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah,
Um,
it's because like what is it like for it's happened. We've seen it happen a lot in games, especially nowadays with like seasons and battle passes and skins. And it's like I think I look back and it's like League, you never heard about what skins were coming till like a week. Like what would happen? There was a specific channel that would do all the like skin previews. And like Riot would announce or they would just post like the splash art and that was like that and it'd be like the skin's coming next. They would then, once it been revealed, would put their video up showing off the skin in the game.
yeah,
Because and they like I've had this for months, but like I understand there is a process to the release and I respect that. And it's like some people don't treat it that way and it's ruining it. For the ones that do try to like leak things kind of ethically is not the right word, but like in a way that's still respectable to the studios and stuff. Like Fortnite, there was people that would leak skins, but they wouldn't leak what the event was, even though they knew what the end of season event was, because they don't want to ruin the experience. As we need more of that and less
yeah,
of this
100%.
just, oh my god, picture from a set because I want impressions on social media.
Exactly that. Um, but I guess it shows there is still a love for these projects, even if the box offices aren't necessarily showing that at the minute.
Yeah.
But if we all just relax a little bit and take a step back, maybe they'll be able to improve the quality because they're not so worried about who's got a camera.
Yeah. It's true.
Nerd News Network time.
Mm.
Lots of trailers and teaser trailers and posters and thoughts and feelings and stuff.
Yes.
What if season 2 trailer?
Yes.
We got it.
We did.
It was very, very Christmas themed.
It was.
Which I mean was always their plan. It starts next Friday, the 22nd.
Yep.
We get an episode a day
Mm-hmm.
from the 22nd through to the end of the year. I know What If got a bit of shit. People
Which
didn't
I
like
never
how it all
understood.
got brought into one story at the end. Because what if it's supposed to be like this?
Yeah.
What if we change one big thing
Yeah.
and just see how that plays out? And what they decided to do instead was, what if we change these really random, tiny little things and see how that plays out?
Mm-hmm.
I get that. I get why people maybe don't necessarily like that. I would have been down for like What If to be instead like each season was a concept. So like in the What If comic I've got, one of the stories is what if Peter Parker became the Punisher.
That's cool.
So the entire story was it's the exact same. He gets Spider-Man's powers and Uncle Ben dies, but Uncle Ben dies before he gets to tell him with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah.
So it's like,
So
yeah, different
in his
direction.
own head, he comes up with the idea that he needs to avenge people and he needs to punish those who do wrong. I would have been down for them to do each What If season is animated still. It's 6 episodes and it takes on that kind of story. what if
Yeah.
Peter Parker was the Punisher for 6 episodes? What if Thor was Loki, or what if Loki became the god of thunder?
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. And I see why people might want that. I still enjoyed the first season.
Yeah. So did I.
I think the second season is going to be fun. It's fun. It's not supposed to be anything other than
Yeah.
fun. Why can't we just have fun?
Yeah. It's what if, like, they are theories and it's animated. Like, it's meant to be just these fun ideas.
It's coming out
Same.
around Christmas. It's 20 minutes where you can just avoid your family and go, oh, I've got a new thing I want to watch. And you just whack your earphones in, you turn your TV on, you watch it for 20 minutes, and you go, that was a cool one. It was all right. Or I don't know why I keep watching these, and then you don't watch the next one. Just allow yourself to live a little.
Yeah, I think that, like, the Marvel fans just need to be like the Star Wars fans with visions. Like, appreciate that these aren't canon to what you actually care about. They're just a bit of fun. You get to watch something cool that you wouldn't have seen before. And yeah, like, that's it doesn't need to be any deeper than that. Like,
Yeah.
what's not fun about watching the MCU characters that might not be quite the right MCU characters, but they're doing something for Christmas in a fun, wacky way. Like, it's just, yeah, just have some fun with it.
It is wild. We got a Madam Web poster.
We did.
It is so unbelievably mid. But at least it's
Yeah.
not just the bog standard big heads poster.
True.
Like, they actually tried to incorporate some of the web themes into it,
It's still
which
kind of
I
just a
think I
big
have
head
a
poster.
little bit more. Yeah, it's a bit better though. Like, at least they actually tried something.
True. It's
Because
very
let's be honest, for a
Sony.
while we've been getting a lot of big head posters that it's just main character,
Yeah.
second character, third and fourth character.
Yeah.
At least they were trying something. What I don't like is it's the exact same picture of Dakota for both of them. For the one of just her, and
Yeah,
for
it is.
the whole, it's the exact same picture of her, which means whoever's made this has made her one. They've
Well,
saved it.
that's
They've
just what they've been
exported it,
given. It's the
and then
assets they've been given.
and then they've just moved her web connects them all text up and added these other bits on it.
Honestly, it's like they'll have been given. That's probably the only good front-facing asset of her that they were given,
Especially
which is a
in what
shame.
looks like it's going to be her suit.
And it'll also just be like, we need some posters. Here's the assets. Get this done in like a week.
Yeah. This was posted on December 12th. They got given this assignment 1 minute to 12 on December 11th. But at least they did try something. At least we've got something.
True.
Slightly Madam Web adjacent news.
Oh.
And this is only funny because she's okay. But a video has leaked from Sydney Sweeney's new rom-com that's coming out.
Okay.
In which she gets bitten by a huntsman spider. So there's a bit in the film that I've seen in the trailer where essentially, so the whole concept of this rom-com is her and this other guy hate each other's guts,
Mm-hmm.
and they're both going to the same wedding in Australia.
Right.
They get there to find out both of their exes are there with their new partners.
Classic
so like,
rom-com.
I hate your guts, but let's pretend we're together so that people stop feeling sorry for us.
Yep.
And of course, they will fall in love with each other over the course of the film. I'm not a rom-com guy, but a good one's a good one. It might be okay. It looks funny. It looks like it actually has a bit more comedy than normal. And in one of the scenes when they're like all over each other, they accidentally realise that there's a huntsman spider because obviously they're in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And a bit of behind-the-scenes footage leaked, and she's like, Sydney Sweeney's an okay actress. I don't think she's the greatest. And it's like on her hand, and then all of a sudden she goes for this big, and you could just kind of see everyone's like, oh, this is pretty good. And she's like, no, it's actually fucking biting me, help! And then Glenn Powell, her co-star, is like, wait, shit, really? And she's like, yes, it's really fucking biting me. He's like, guys, can we help her? Like I say, only funny because she's okay.
Yeah.
But that coming out a day after the Madam Web poster has a lot of people making very similar jokes.
Yeah. I mean,
But yeah.
timing.
More Spider-Man news.
Yes.
Now, I could have sworn that we were told not that long ago that this got shelved. Then we were kind of told maybe it won't be shelved, but it might not be what we thought it was anymore.
Yeah.
But apparently, Spider-Man Freshman Year, which was one of the animated shows announced at San Diego Comic-Con last year, not this year,
Yeah.
22, when they announced loads.
Yeah, over a year ago.
Yeah. Has been renamed to the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man
Mm-hmm.
and is apparently releasing in 2024.
Yeah.
I remember when we initially saw some of the designs, we liked what we saw.
Yeah,
An
it was
animated Spider-Man show is always a good thing to have.
Yeah.
Initially, it was supposed to be canon to the MCU.
Mm,
That has definitely changed.
right, okay.
We then heard that it was going to be cancelled when they announced that they were cancelling a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But that was also the same wave where we heard Armor Wars had been cancelled, and Armor Wars hasn't actually been cancelled. So I think that was a miscommunication that never got corrected, and they've just like continued giving updates on these projects.
Yeah, I think it was kind of like probably what happened was they were taking off their slots and were going to be rescheduled a different time, and people were just like, "Oh, they've been cancelled." Really, it was just like kind of not ready to be actually announced yet, sort of thing.
Yeah, 100%. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, an animated Spider-Man's always enjoyed, and
I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm holier than thou. I love watching fucking animated shows.
especially
Like,
Spider-Man.
animated superhero shows go fucking hard, man. And they're normally 20,
Yeah.
25 minutes. And like,
Mhm.
I'll be honest, not even animated superhero shows. When it's late at night and I'm like, I've got 40 minutes before I need to like actively try and go to sleep, I whack on 2 episodes of Family Guy. I don't give a fuck. It's funny. I'm actually really happy that TikTok's making Family Guy it again. Because now I don't feel really old for watching Family Guy.
Yes,
Instead, I feel like I'm
showing
being
up
hip
again.
and cool.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be good.
Speaking more on Blade.
Yeah, back to Blade again.
Yeah. Mahershala Ali says he's encouraged with the direction Blade is going, and he is confident they'll be back at it pretty soon.
Which is the first, well, probably the second good news recently from that.
Yeah. There was a little bit of concern for a hot minute there that he was like ready to leave the project over how badly it was going.
Yep.
And he's a prestigious actor. He's won awards. Everyone knows this man can act.
Yep.
And one of the first things, like we said when it got announced that he was going to be Blade, was like, "That is fucking brilliant. This film cannot miss."
Yeah.
And then they've proceeded to fuck around with the script so much that he got to the point where it was like, "Guys, I'm not sure if I can."
I don't want to. I don't want to do this.
But looks like they might have won him back over, or he's just so exceedingly well PR trained, he's not going to throw them under the bus until he's absolutely walking out the door.
I imagine, because they've brought in the writer from Logan.
Yeah.
I imagine he's done a rough sort of like pitch of this is what I want to do for the story, tone, how I want to take it. He's seen that and he's gone, okay, this is more like the Blade film I want to do. This is now going in the right direction again. I trust in this again. And that's kind of what he means by it. So, fingers crossed, it all goes well because I really want a good Blade film.
100%. A live action Spider-Man Noir series is in the works at Amazon. However, it will not focus on Peter Parker. And that is where they concern me. A live action Spider-Man Noir series, I'm intrigued by. I'm interested by. I'm willing to give it a chance. To randomly decide it's not going to be Peter Parker is such a weird decision. That feels like I want the Spider-Man branding, but I don't want to have to tell a Spider-Man story.
Unless they're really trying to just throw us off, and it's actually they're just like, oh yeah, it's not Peter Parker, but it
Yeah,
is. Like, yeah, it's I'm down for the theme of Spider-Man Noir, but yeah, like you said, it'll be interesting to see what story they're gonna do then if it's not like
100%.
focused on Peter Parker.
For sure. There's definitely going to be some interesting ones. That much is
But Amazon has done well by us so far.
they've done a
So
good job. So
whoever's in charge of it,
fingers crossed they can keep cooking.
yeah,
Speaking of Amazon, the Boys season 4 teaser, we got that last week.
we did.
Um,
Yes,
it really didn't give much away.
no,
Homelander is drifting further into fucking insanity.
yeah, power struggle.
This lawsuit about the person he killed at the end of season 3 is clearly going to be a bigger talking point than we really thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of attention's clearly being put on Newman.
Yeah,
And we've got a new Black Noir,
yeah,
Sam. That's a popular theory I've seen. It was something I like thought in my head straight away. I was like, that could be. A lot of people are going, well, clearly based on what we saw at the end of Gen V, Sam and
yeah. The Guardians of
whatever her face is,
Godolkin.
yeah, are clearly like been taken under Homelander's wing. Sam is crazy powerful, doesn't
Mm.
feel things potentially anymore. After what
Well,
Kate,
and Kate could very easily just be like, "Don't talk anymore."
yeah,
Then
like
it's like what? Like that if she told him never speak again, boom.
so
But
it'll be
there's
interesting to
also
see.
they tease that there's going to be this like um kind of left and right wing yellow
No, no,
versus
there's no actual politics at discussion here, Horry. God, it is
sorry,
simply Starlighters versus the Homelanders.
it's
There,
true.
there is.
Optic
Keep
versus
politics out.
phase.
Keep politics out of my superhero stories, please. There is nothing political about this.
True. It's just optic versus
Are you,
phase.
are you dumb, Horry? There is clearly no politics at play here whatsoever.
It's Navi versus Astralis.
um,
But yeah,
yeah,
that's also gonna be a part.
it's gonna be an interesting one, and by the looks of it, his Homelander's son, I forget his name, looks like he flings someone into a building at some point as well.
Yeah, I worry for that kid's future.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, like we thought he was a cute kid and that she'd done a really good job raising him. And then like very quickly after she died, he's become a little shit.
Trauma
Like
it's
very
trauma.
quickly.
He messed up, suffered the trauma of that. Then Matey wasn't very helpful in the situation of like he blamed him. So then Homelander swoops in and is like, "Oh, I'll be the father figure then. I'll be all
Then
nicey nicey to you."
we also got to meet 3 new characters.
Yes.
2 soups.
Hmm.
One appears to be a psychic.
Hmm.
And that is the black lady who I don't think we got a name for. And then we got Truth Bomb. And it's so funny because people's reaction to Truth Bomb got away from superhero Twitter. So like you had people like taking screenshots of her in like a red, white, and blue unitard with a gun, and then named Truth Bomb, and everyone's like, "This motherfucker is going to be racist, homophobic, all of the icks, like just all of it." And then everyone's like, "My brother in Christ, you've seen 2 seconds of her. Why do you hate this woman?" And they're like, "Ah, I see you're not familiar with the boys."
Yeah. Also, she's very much seemingly on Homelander's side, and the whole like
100%. She's called
narrators,
Truth Bomb.
the
Come
narrators
on.
like they're saying like he needs to surround himself with like-minded individuals. It's like, oh, okay, we know where this is going.
And then you've got, I forget the actor's name, but Negan from The Walking Dead.
Yes.
So everyone knew he was coming to work on the show like straight off season 3 ended. and I believe this is also a character we've not from the comics. So the two new
Okay.
soups aren't from the comics. Neither is he. As we discussed, the boys' comics are not particularly good comic books, and they've
Yeah.
really just taken the concept and improved it for the show.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how these characters play into the greater story. So yeah.
Yeah.
Then we got Fallout trailer.
Yes.
Gonna be good, isn't it? The trailer had me hyped.
I have to say, when we last talked about it and we saw some set photos, I was somewhat hopeful, but tentative. I have to
Yeah,
say that trailer, it did look good. They like the visual effects, practical and like
digital.
CGI, like look great.
Yeah, the the
And
the the all the power suits look really clean.
yeah, uh, and like with that trailer coming out, you had like Todd Howard's comments on like it's going to be an original story, so it's got potential.
I just want to be entertained, Tori. I'm a simple man. Don't get me wrong, there are going to be times I sit here and I'm like, no, this is like out and out art. This is something that we really need to. But I'm also down for like not shit content, but I'm down to just watch stuff that's fun that I don't have to
Yeah,
worry about too much. And if nothing else, it looks fun.
yeah. I think as long as they don't, my only little thing is like when we first saw Halo, everyone's like, "Oh my god, this looks amazing! We're gonna get a Halo live action finally." Then the story ruined it.
Yeah,
As long as they don't do something that is like so far left from what the actual like Fallout lore and kind of like guidelines are, I don't think it's going to be very bad. I think it's going to be a decent show.
I think we're going to get some really good action set pieces as well,
Yeah.
based on what we saw in the trailer. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes and if it ends up being a dub or an L, so to speak.
Yes.
But that about wraps up the news, and it's time for the Crimbo Content
Yeah.
Championship. I
Of the trio.
decided, as we always do, um, sometimes it's good to take a little break in the brackets, and I believe
Yeah.
we were getting to like the quarterfinals anyway, so it was a good time to take a little break. And I thought, why not this week and next week do Christmas
Mm,
content? So I asked you for two films, and then I
you
selected two
did.
films. The two films you gave me were Home Alone 3 and The Grinch.
Yep.
At first, I reread it because I was like, this motherfucker's just said Home Alone 3. Um,
There's, I, in my opinion, the most entertaining Home Alone film.
this has been the last episode of Cutscene Convos. We will not see you next time. And then I've chosen to go against Home Alone 3, Die Hard. The original Die Hard, the best Christmas film to ever exist. So, as always, we have got our 6 characteristics, the
Categories.
categories to help us make our decision. We
Mm,
have personal relevance, how well has it aged, rewatchability, story, acting, and cinematography / general visual appeal.
yes.
I'm going to start because
Okay.
I don't want to hear you defend Home Alone 3 straight away. So, Home Alone 3. Worst Home Alone film. I've only ever seen it once. I'll never see it again. Die Hard. One of my favourite action movies and one of my favourite Christmas movies. It is not Christmas without Die Hard.
Okay.
Would you like to give me your personal relevance on this?
Home Alone 3 is the best Home Alone film. It's the most it's the most like it's the most entertaining, but not like I stand by Home Alone 1 is the classic Home Alone film. Home Alone 3
Yeah.
though is the most entertaining Home Alone film.
Home Alone 3 has a 4.6 on IMDb
I
and
don't
a
care.
32% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't care. One kid takes on 4 adults and absolutely destroys them. It's hilarious. So I've watched it. We'll get on to how often I watch it. Die Hard. I mean, I am in the band of I accept that Die Hard is a Christmas film.
It is
I'm not
absolutely
one
a
of
Christmas
these
film.
ones that's like, Die Hard's not a Christmas film. Mate, it's a Christmas film. If a kid defending his house at Christmas is classed as a Christmas film, a man doing wild shit at Christmas is also a Christmas
I
film.
mean, we're forgetting the important things of him asking the driver to put Christmas music on. He goes, "This is Christmas music." The everyone's saying "Merry Christmas" fucking constantly.
Yeah,
The ho ho ho! Now I have a gun.
yeah.
It's a Christmas film. It is a man doing whatever it takes at Christmas to get home to his family. That is a Christmas film.
But I will say, for me, Home Alone as a whole franchise is what I watch at Christmas over Die Hard. I can't say I really watch Die Hard every Christmas.
That's interesting. Shall we move on to how well it has aged?
Sure.
Horrifically. Most people go, wait, there's a third one. And I'm not even joking here. Jenna, we watched the first Home Alone Tuesday night. And she was like, should we watch the second one at some point? I was like, I don't know, the second one's not that good. I don't understand how you leave your kid traveling at Christmas twice in a row.
Yep.
And she's like, at least they didn't do a third one. I was like, Jenna, there is a third one. She was like, what? How do they leave their child behind three times? I was
No,
like, no, it's a different
child.
kid. It's a dog shit film.
No, wrong. In my opinion, I agree with you. The second one, poor compared to the first one.
It's a weird decision.
The third one is just entertaining in a new way for me. I just think same concept. Kid defending house. This time he destroys 4 adults with how it's just like how wild some of the shit is that he does.
There's a Home Alone 4.
I was about to say this. There's a Home Alone 4. You think Home Alone 3 is bad? Home Alone 4 is fucking dog shit. They ruined that franchise with a 4.
Why on the cover of Home Alone 4 is he doing YouTube thumbnail faces?
Don't. It was several years later. They obviously wanted to try and revitalize the franchise. It flopped so fucking hard that then they've not done another one.
2002, my God. Macaulay Culkin is the only young actor who can pull off Home Alone. Stop trying to make it happen.
Nah, the third one's good.
However, for the Die Hard aspect of how well it's aged, I've said it's still incredibly relevant.
Yeah.
Even if that is partly due to the is it, isn't it debate around whether it's a Christmas film or
not. It's one of those classic action films.
Yes. And like, even if you like disregard the Christmas element of it, it's a very good action film.
Yeah. And I mean, the Die Hard franchise went on to do quite a few. So
yeah,
it's a solid film. I don't disagree
100%.
with that.
But it also happens to be a Christmas film.
Yeah. One of the few action films you can happily say I watch at Christmas.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what we move on to, rewatchability. Home Alone 3.
Okay.
0% rewatchability. I watched it once, and I've never even considered it for a microsecond. There are too many other good Christmas films before you get to Home Alone 3.
I watch Home Alone 3 every year.
I refuse to believe that. This is
bait. This is not bait.
Ashton Kutcher,
I will go back through my Instagram stories of like December, Christmas Eve when I'm wrapping presents last minute, because that's what I do.
There is no way.
I have a personal tradition that as my brain needs other stimulant when I'm doing tasks, when I wrap presents, I put on Home Alone 1 and I sit through and watch all the way through to Home Alone 3. I watch them back to back while I'm wrapping presents and doing Christmas stuff.
I just want everyone listening right now to know I'm putting him on blast in our friendship group Discord after this.
Go for it.
So that everyone else absolutely decimates him for backing Home Alone 3 as a go-to Christmas film.
I then also watch other ones, but like it's kind of my I watch Home Alone while I wrap presents. It's what I do.
Home Alone 3 is what you get to after like 5 straight days of binging Christmas films, and there is literally nothing. I'm watching sitcom Christmas episodes
Now,
before I get to Home
do you
Alone
know?
3.
Do you know what's showing here? You clearly didn't have the Home Alone triple box set.
No, we have good films in my house.
No, you watch Home Alone 1, it's classic. Can't fault it. It's great. Home Alone 2, bit mid. Then you go to Home Alone 3, and it's just watching a child murder 4 people, but they don't die. And it's hilarious.
I would rewatch the Star Wars 1980 Christmas special
Oh,
before Home
I
Alone
remember that
3.
from last year. That was an acid trip, and I will never experience that again.
I
I
can't
should
wait
have
for
put
I'm
that as my
hearing.
pick. But no, Home Alone 3's goated. I don't care.
Rewatchability for Die Hard. I have literally watched it every Christmas for at minimum the last 5 years, but I would be semi-confident saying every year for the last 10, maybe like there was one Christmas I didn't. But basically every year I watch it.
I would
It's an
say
absolute go-to Christmas film.
I haven't watched it every year, but I've watched it multiple times. But yeah, not every year.
These next three are where Home Alone 3 is absolutely getting dicked, though. Story. I've put forgettable at best because I know it's a Home Alone film, so I know the concept is, bearing in mind I've only seen it once, child is stuck at home without an adult, robbers try and break in, slapstick comedy to stop them happens. Other than that, I couldn't tell you a damn thing.
Let me jog your memory. Child has chicken pox, has to stay at home. Got a toy remote control car from old lady neighbor for Shilvill Drive. Old remote control car has a military aircraft chip in it.
Hell, bruv.
So 4 guys are looking for it. They're searching the whole neighborhood. Mum goes off to work.
It's not just 4 like robbers. These are like highly trained spies.
Well, they're meant to be like
by this child.
Yeah, this is why it's fucking hilarious. His mum's going off to work because she has to deal with stuff. Snowstorm slows it. When it gets to it, this kid rigs this house, dropping like oak chests of books on people from a rooftop, dumping people into a pool in negative temperatures. And it's things that would murder people. And it's hilarious. And this kid's running around with a little mouse he has, or pet rat. And it's just these 4.
I'm actually starting to think you genuinely like this film and you're not trying to bait me.
No, I enjoy it because of how stupid it is.
You are ruining all of our respect of our opinions on this podcast.
I don't care. I will die on this hill.
What a hill to choose to die on. Story for Die Hard. Surprisingly good for an action film and above average for a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
As a general rule, Christmas films and action films have the weakest stories.
Yeah.
Because action movies you get away with just here's explosion.
Yeah.
And guns. Story doesn't matter.
Big
and
fact.
Christmas movies, it's just snow and happiness. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
But this manages to have a better story than your average action film or Christmas film. It's tight. It's a really well put together story. Later Die Hard films maybe lose it a little bit, but that first one had it on lock.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
Acting.
I mean, I'm not gonna defend the acting. I'm watching a child.
At its very best.
I don't.
Horrific at its worst.
No, I would say mid. But you've got a child actor and you've got 4 adults acting like idiots getting destroyed by a child.
Macaulay Culkin was a child actor. He is fucking phenomenal in Home Alone. Yeah. He's not acting cheesily. He's legit acting. Man had rent to pay.
But I don't disagree that I'm not saying it's this amazing act. This isn't any Lord of the Rings. But
it's not even above average. It is dog shit.
No, I'd say it's mid.
Oh. Alan Rickman was acting like rent was due. I always forget that Die Hard kind of put Alan Rickman on the map. That was his first major role. He'd done other things, but that took him from a medium level guy who got work and was earning a living to Alan fucking Rickman, your man who would go on to play Severus Snape and your man from Love Actually.
Yeah.
big superstar Alan Rickman. And like I'd say it's one of Bruce Willis's better acting performances.
Yeah, would
I'd say
agree.
a lot of the side characters who you don't see a lot of do a pretty good job. Once again, especially considering it's an action film. Or as a general rule, they just tried to find the prettiest women they could find and the muscliest men they could find. Like they didn't really worry about acting skills too much, but
Yeah,
they did a really good job.
yeah, no, I don't, yeah.
Cinematography. Home Alone 3.
It's
Bland late 90s shit.
yeah, it's the fast. It's like the
It is
action sequences of the kids. It's just like fast cuts. Like
it looks like a straight to TV movie. Like with the quality of production.
yeah, it's that like it's dated now. Like it's that era.
There are films from the 90s that have not aged that poorly.
Ah,
It looks like it could be a Disney Channel original film.
fair. I'm not like
Yeah. Die Hard. Decent.
yeah.
There's a couple of really, really good shots in there, but as a general rule, they were more worried about making sure the explosions and everything
Yeah,
were
it's
visible.
used standard like action.
Yeah.
Vibe.
Though, as with all action films have a couple of shots where you're like, oh yeah, everyone's collective brains were like, this is the shot. But most of it is just like getting the right angle for multiple explosions and stuff. So this is a 6-0 sweep for Die Hard, right?
No.
There's no way you're arguing any of these belong to Home Alone 3.
Well, I mean, personal relevance. Home
That's a
Alone's
draw.
so yeah.
Still
So it's
nil-nil.
not 6-0. This is what I mean.
This is
Technicalities here. I'm living.
I'm just saying it now. If anyone in the comments of the segment or the full video try and defend Home Alone, just know you're getting blocked. You're never going to be able to comment on a video ever again. So just choose your words carefully.
So yeah, personal relevance, draw. Rewatchability. I mean, it's Home Alone again. I watch it every year. So it's a draw.
More people in the entire world
I don't care.
Die Hard than
How
Home
well
Alone 3. More people watch Die Hard than probably Home Alone 2, 3, and 4 combined.
How well it's aged, I will give Die Hard. But so that's two draws.
You're for a 4-0.
Yeah, of course it's gonna be fun. I know Home Alone isn't winning. I'm not oblivious to what I'm fighting against. I
fully thought you just put it in there so that we wouldn't have a headache for 1 week. And this is the most heated I've ever got discussing a content championship.
But I will say,
I'm so glad I decided to choose Die Hard and not something that I thought of as equally shit.
This would have been great if you had. I'm will obviously it's like, don't get me wrong, Die Hard wins the last 3 categories. I can't deny that. And this film is one of those guilty pleasure films, but I still think it is one of the most entertaining films.
I think I might hate it here.
When you asked me for Christmas films, and obviously we can say Die Hard wins. Don't get me wrong, Die Hard wins. I'm not disagreeing, but I will say that I will disagree that Home Alone 3 is shit. That is not true.
Jesus Christ. Next week we have one that I was expecting to be the difficult one, which is The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey version, versus Love Actually.
Yep.
I was expecting that to be the difficult one. I thought this week was going to be really unstressful and nice and fun. You bastard.
I knew as well. It's like, I was like, I can't just say Home Alone 1 because no one's going to deny.
No sane person thinks Home Alone 3 is a
I have
good
to keep
film.
Well, hi, I'm not sane. We know this. But like, I knew if I put Home Alone 1, it's a boring conversation. No one's going to deny that Home Alone 1's good.
Well, ironically, Home Alone 1 and Die Hard would have been a really good comparison because they're very similar films.
Home Alone 3's entertaining.
Home Alone 1 and Die Hard 1 are a better group of films than Home Alone 2, 3, and 4.
We don't talk about Home Alone 4. Home
I
Alone
didn't even know
4,
Home Alone 4
mate,
existed.
I've watched it once. I think I switched it off halfway through. It was like, I was like, there's a fourth one? When did this happen? And I'm like, no, not doing this.
Crazy. But yeah, that's it. That's it for this week's episode. We'll be back next week with our final thoughts on Aquaman and the Lost
Yes.
Kingdom. We will have our final thoughts on What If.
Yes.
We will have a couple of other festive topics. Maybe I'll try and see if Horizontal's got any more shit tier holiday takes.
We'll be live watching Home Alone 3.
Sorry, I'm not available next week. I've got anything else to be doing. If you haven't already, make sure you click the like button. Make sure you subscribe with the bell on so that you can find your way back here. It's completely free, doesn't cost you a penny, and helps out a lot. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.